What's good, everybody? It's Batman. This is going to be part 2 of What If Naruto and Sasuke Swap Fights. And it's also featuring New Horizons. So if you guys don't know who that is, make sure to check them out. Both YouTubes will be down in the description down below. So I'll make sure to put those in there. Make sure to check out their content. They do nothing but Naruto, and it's goated, and it's incredible. So make sure to give all the love and all the vibes, good positive energy, you name it. And we'll be getting into this video, and let's get it. Peace.
With Team 7. You know, like, just because... I'm gonna be honest, Naruto's really he fights against like Orochimaru in you know, early Shippuden, which is like that's a waste of a fight in our opinion. Like that's a waste of a slot. And the other fights like against Sasuke, Kakuzu being like his big fight. So Sasuke will
okay, so they're skipping. Interesting. So they're skipping Kakashi, and they're skipping what was it? Deidara as well. Well, we see Sasuke fight Deidara with Kakashi, so yeah, no, I get that. But, okay, I see what they're kind of doing now. Interesting. And then, obviously, they're skipping the Orochimaru fight, too. So, I feel like you should still talk about this. But, alright, if they're not going to fucking talk about it, we'll talk about it really quick. How about that? So, going off my current knowledge and memory, and you name it. So, let's say Sasuke's fighting against Kakashi. Like, it's Sasuke and Sakura fighting against Kakashi. Okay, and they were to kind of go at it and whatnot. We know Kakashi, obviously, has some Mangekyo Sharingan at this point. I mean, all this stuff, you know, intelligence, you name it, Sharingan, whatever. Now, at this point, if Sasuke was to fight Kakashi and they were to kind of go at it with the aid of Sakura as well, we could take Naruto out. Let's say we just take him out since we're just kind of swapping fights, okay? So it would be Sasuke and Sakura, okay? And if they were to kind of go at it, you know what I mean? I could definitely see it being possible for Sasuke to be able to take the bells. I don't see why not. Like, Sasuke... Like, he gets so strong to the point where, like, you know, he's up there. Like, you know, he's clear. Like, when he first meets Team 7, like, he basically, it was narratively implied and it was very emphasized that he was over those, you know, Naruto, Sasuke, and Sai. Yamato was the only one holding back. And then it's even stated verbatim that Yamato was holding back and that he was going to go at full force after, you know, Sasuke kind of embarrassed him with the Chidori sword. But either way, you know what I mean, like, basically, you know, at that point, he's no joke, okay? So, obviously, he's going to be the backpack of the fight while Sakura is helping keeping pressure here and there. And, you know, with Sasuke having access to the Kurtzmark, CM1, CM2, with his Sharingan, all his abilities, Kirin, all that, it's going to be really hard for Kakashi. Like, you know what I mean? It's going to be a very tough fight for him. I don't think Sasuke is straight up speed blitzing. I don't think that's happening at all. Because, like I said, there's an implication with Yamato where he's like, all right, I'm done holding back, blah, blah, I'm going to get serious now, you know, and even apologize to Naruto and Sasuke. Basically implying in a sense that he could be able to fight the Sasuke while he's in base with Sharingan. You know, I don't know about CM2 and all that, and you name it, but at least implying for base, I would say it's a fair assertion. You know, so, like, if they're kind of going at it, I feel like they'd be filling each other out, you know, you name it, whatever, and Kakashi's going to be very pressed and whatnot. And then, like, if Sasuke, like, does, you know, like, it's kind of like it's not really like a death battle either, you know what I mean? Like, it's more of, like, trying to get the bells and just test and teamwork and, you know, you name it. So I don't really think Sasuke is going to be using Kirin. I think that's a little weird. I don't think he's going to be using lethal fucking Chidori attacks. Like, he'll probably use some Chidori attacks or whatever, or fire style, but not enough to try to kill Kakashi, you know what I mean? So, like, it'd be really interesting, okay? I don't have a problem with seeing Sasuke and Sakura pulling it off somehow. Sasuke's just strong, and they will both of them being combined. Or maybe if you think Kakashi, like, you know, he's able to do it, and they can't get the bells from whatever. But I feel like with CM2 and everything, and you name it, like, I just don't see why Kakashi, you know, wouldn't be able to be overwhelmed at that point. You know what I mean? And even with Kamui, he's not going to use Kamui, like, to kill Sasuke or anything like that. If anything, if he was forced to use Kamui, he would use it to, like, deal with one of his ninjutsu attacks, maybe like Kirin, or, you know, or something else, whatever. But I don't even think Kakashi would use Mangekyo and go that far either, especially for a Bell's training test. So, like, with all that into consideration, and with Kakashi kind of hold it back to a degree, and you name it, you know, I feel like Sasuke more likely to take the W or whatever, and that's fine. You know, like, if you want to say Kakashi still pulls it off, whatever. Like, mind you, Kakashi's my favorite character. But Sasuke's really strong at this point, you know, so, and there's conditions, you name it, and I can see them being able to pull it off and getting the belts. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not saying this as a death battle or anything like that. I'm just talking about, like, as like the same, you know, scenario, if that makes sense.
when he arrived.
Other than that, if Sasuke was to fight Orochimaru, the one that fought the Four Tails, it's going to be really interesting. I think that's actually a really interesting fight because we know this Orochimaru can use Edo Tensei. He can still use his abilities, his snake shit. He's able to fight against a V2 transformation Naruto pretty well. You know what I mean? And it kind of gets to the point where, like, do you think Sasuke could fight against a V2 Naruto and whatnot? So, like, it's really interesting overall. But what I will say at the very least is, if he is fighting against Orochimaru, I do think Sasuke would win that fight, mainly due to the Sharingan, Genjutsu, all that, you name it. If Orochimaru starts doing, like, Edo Tensei and stuff and whatnot, then it might be a little difficult. But then again, it's like, what does fucking Orochimaru have at that point? Like, the only main Edo Tenseis he had was the fucking Hokage, but he can't use those because he hasn't released their souls yet. So, he can't summon the 4 Hokage or anything like that. He can only use his snake abilities, you name it, or his full snake transformation, So, like, if Orochimaru does, like, his full snake transformation, Sasuke probably loses, I don't think he's going to be beating that. He doesn't really have hacks at that point to kind of negate it or deal with it. But I think at that point, Orochimaru would win. Especially if he's using a combination of maybe just some of the other Edo Tensei that he might have. I don't know what he would really have at that point. Could Sasuke pull it off? Maybe, sure. But, like, I could see Orochimaru definitely coming on top. You know what I mean? I could definitely see it. Don't get me wrong, Sasuke is really strong. And he's very strong at that point. But, like, I don't know. Like, the only reason why Sasuke even beat Orochimaru when he did at that point was because he was even more severely weakened. It was literally stated verbatim. It was at that point he needed a body. Like, he had to do the ritual. And so Sasuke kind of exploited that and took advantage of that and was able to basically defeat Orochimaru. And he used his will. He had to use his willpower to even, like, reverse technique because Orochimaru was able to still beat him in a fight. He was able to beat him still, paralyze him, and then did the ritual. And he's like, oh, it's over. You lose. And then basically go from there. So if Orochimaru could still beat a Sasuke even more weakened and, severely, injured and whatnot and nerfed, even at that point, I don't see why a more stronger at the current time should be able to defeat him, especially if he does his full transformation 8-headed serpent. That's just me, though. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but that's just me. So,
On the battlefield, in which case Sasuke's gonna have the support of Yamato and Kakashi as a fallback while he makes errors. Because in the original fight, Naruto's making he had a couple blunders for, like, with Yamato and, like, Kakashi kind of being, like, guardrails for him. And
Sasuke is fucking up Kakashi, by the way. He's absolutely destroying him. I'm sorry. If he has the aid of Kakashi and Yamato, bro, and at that current point in time, remind you that Kakashi, he's already fatigued, he's already tired, like, if Naruto could get behind him with diversions with Shadow Clones and land 2 successful attacks, bro, by himself, you are not telling me that same Sasuke, especially with CM1 and CM2, and his elemental weakness can't kill him or fuck him up, bro. Like, if anything, Sasuke does Kirin, bro, bam, dead. like, come on, bro. Like, let's be real,
Even talking about the fact that, like, Ino and Choji are also present in the battlefield. So it's just, like, he has a lot of, like, basis, and it kind of gets into, like, okay, Sasuke, let's say that Sasuke wants to 1v1 Kakuzu, right? What is he going to be able to, like, take down Kakuzu's hearts? I think this kind of gets into, because I think a lot of people are going to probably say this, like, Sasuke's standard arsenal might not be enough for Kakuzu at this point. In which case, like, also base Naruto's...
Yeah, he has a shit ton of lightning style attacks, fire style, fucking the Sharingan for Genjutsu, CM1, CM2. I'd say he has plenty enough to deal with him. That's just me.
Kakuzu,
like, if we're talking about, like, him starting off with, like, all 5 hearts and a 1v1... I would still say Sasuke wins, okay? Even if you guys think I'm crazy for that or for whatever reason. Like, unless, like, somehow Kakashi can get, like, an off-guard lethal blow, which I don't see that happening. Like, if he couldn't do that to Kakashi, I don't see that happening to Sasuke. But, like, basically, if he starts at all 5 hearts, and let's say Sasuke kills him, right? With a Chidori or whatever. Let's say something similar to Kakashi, and he gets, like, hit off guard or whatever. Okay, to really say that, like, like, oh, what does Sasuke do? Like, how does he win? Blah, blah. Guess what? He has, like, Kirin. He has, lightning fucking... he has Chidori. He has fucking the attack he did against Itachi, where he like does like a lightning spear and just makes a shit ton of lightning spikes come out of his body. Like the man has so much jutsu. You know what I mean? Like he has a good bit. He can do Shidori around his whole body, so he can't be touched, which would obviously negate Earth style and shit. Like he's a hard counter for Kakuzu, dude. Like a really hard counter. And if he does Genjutsu against Kakuzu, like that's really bad. You know what I mean? So like that can create openings and shit. And he could just get rid of all 5 hearts in a fucking heartbeat with his lightning techniques and shit. So like, I don't know. And then if he does like CM1 or CM2, bro, where he's getting even stronger, like come on, bro. I just don't see Kakuzu beating that Sasuke. I really don't. Like Kakuzu's strong. He's very fucking strong, but not to beat Sasuke at that current point. Should put in Sasuke heavy, bro? Nah, it just ain't happening. I just don't see it at all.
Okay.
Like you can make arguments for Kakuzu, but like I just don't see it.
In which case, Sasuke probably will rely on his like ace technique, Kyuden. He even the reason I say he also might bring it up is because he even considered like bringing it up against Deidara, and he had like the best matchup versus Deidara. So imagine what he would do against somebody who was like actually pressuring him. In which case, this kind of gets into like Rasen Shuriken versus Kirin. The way I always interpret it, and New Horizons kind of agrees with me. Like these
Rasen Shuriken beats Kirin. It's literally the elemental weed. It's stated verbatim. Naruto's wind style technique would beat Sasuke's lightning style, his Chidori. Now, obviously, it doesn't say it would beat Kirin, but it says it beat Chidori, and Kirin is still lightning. Like, it's really weird. If anything, actually, now thinking about it, I think fucking in the anime, in a filler, Naruto uses Rasen Shuriken against Kirin, I believe. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure that does happen. But either way, like, fucking, I do believe it would win. Like, Naruto has way more chakra. If he does Rasen Shuriken, you know what I mean, against Kirin, he should be able to beat it. It's his elemental weakness. Now, can you still beat a technique that's your elemental weakness? Yes, that has also been shown. Madara is an example. Fucking Shishri is an example. There's so many examples out there. I can go on and on and on. But, okay, Sasuke would have to use a shit amount more chakra, okay? And Naruto definitely beats him in that category when it comes to chakra. Don't get me wrong, they both have a lot of chakra, but Naruto does have more, it's stated. Okay, and, you know, unless, like, Naruto's holding back severely enough because he never wants to kill Sasuke, you know what I mean? Like, that maybe the Kirin would beat him or whatever. Or if you don't even think, like that Naruto could react, that, like, Kirin is so fast, like, it would just hit him before he can even use it to hit Kirin or whatever. You know what I mean? That's fine, whatever, but I'm obviously talking about as if Naruto had, you know, speed and hits his Rasen Shuriken with Kirin, what would happen? I do think Rasen Shuriken will win. That's just me. But you guys let me know.
Both are like, at this point in the series, like they're narratively implied to be like similar power in terms of techniques. A lot of anime filler depicts it as such as well. Like Sasuke's like infinite Tsukuyomi dream like shows like Kirin and like Rasen Shuriken being equal levels and stuff like that. So
okay, I was right.
If you take that along with like Kirin being in like elemental advantage, or at least in the sense that Kakuzu can't use like diamond hardening, then like you could say like that would wipe out Kakuzu.
Yeah.
If not, like it would just take out one of his hearts, since it can't attack on that level. But at that point, you know, Kakashi and Yamato
probably all 5.
As well as the fact that Sasuke doesn't really have to expend too much chakra or can manually do Kirin. So not to like
he doesn't even need chakra to do Kirin. That's the craziest thing. It requires no chakra.
I do believe like Sasuke would jump to that point just because like Kakuzu fused himself with his hearts and he's like on this crazy level of like where they're like, okay, we got to step in. I'm about to use Kamui, all of this stuff. So it takes him out with Kirin, which would eliminate one of his hearts, in which case, you know, he would just fight alongside Kakashi and Yamato, who at that point they would just be able to overwhelm.
Yeah, they would. Like when Yamato and Kakashi even intervened to save Naruto after he fucked up with the first Rasen Shuriken. Okay, like Yamato was applying pressure with his wood style. Kakashi just cut through his fucking tentacles like there was nothing. Like, and Kakashi even states like if they never showed up, he would have just used Kamui to defeat Kakuzu, and that would have been it. And he would have ended up in the hospital. So like, absolutely. Like even if you think Kirin doesn't kill all the 5 hearts, or if you for some reason think Sasuke needs the help of Kakashi and Yamato, they would definitely be able to get the job done. Kakuzu is dying. He's dying. He will die again like a little bitch he is, okay?
Just one more thing to say about like potentially doing like a Tenchi Bridge fight with Orochimaru. Orochimaru and Kabuto say like they're not trying to kill any Leaf Shinobi because they need them to go deal with the Akatsuki. So it wouldn't really make sense to put Sasuke in a fight that he can't lose. And same deal with like we're not doing Sasuke versus Itachi with Naruto replacing Sasuke because you can't lose that fight either. But anyway, the next fight is
Okay.
one Naruto can lose, which is Naruto versus Deidara, and I guess
Yeah.
maybe a little bit.
Now, I'll be real with you. I do think Deidara beats Naruto. I do think Deidara would beat Naruto. Okay, he just has a severe advantage. But what would more than, like, basically the way it would get, it's two ways it would go. Either Deidara knocks out Naruto and captures him like he did with Gaara, okay, or, okay, Deidara doesn't knock out Naruto but hurts him severely enough to where the Kyuubi chakra comes out, and if the Kyuubi chakra comes out, Deidara's fucked. He's not beating the same V2 Four Tails Naruto that came and was fighting against Orochimaru. Like, he's just not being... Like, he would have to have the intent to kill, but the problem is he can't kill Naruto because he's in Jinchuriki. So not only does Deidara have to hold back and is not allowed to kill him, okay, or use, like, his Hacks ability where he can incinerate him, you name it, he can't kill him. He has to knock him out like he did with Gaara. So Deidara has to hold back tremendously. He can only use a certain amount of techniques, you name it. So, which, you know, if he's not able to knock out Naruto and only hurt him, and the Kyuubi chakra comes out, Deidara is getting fucked up by the V2. Okay, and if Naruto goes Six Tails, like with Pain, he ain't fighting that. If Naruto transforms even further, Deidara is not beating that. You know what I mean? Like, he's just not doing it. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, I know there's a whole thing where, like, it's you know, where Deidara, like, fought with Obito, and they captured, like, the Three Tails. And like Deidara was like, oh, I did the heavy lifting, but then Obito was like, no, I fucking beat the tail beast, whatever. So it's very contentious, and there's no way to really know who did what, whatever. But either way, okay, like, just to miraculously say that, oh, Deidara has enough AP to fucking defeat V2 transformations or even the full transformation of Nine Tails, I think that's just crazy. Like, we all know that Nine Tails is tremendously stronger than the Three Tails. So like, that's just really weird to rank him that high. And it's just, you know, I don't know, that's just me. But like, I don't see Deidara being able to beat that, and if anything, he'll probably have to retreat and just leave. You know, or better yet, Obito would probably use his Sharingan and then just capture or backpack the fight either way. But that's just basically, you know, just what I would kind of concur from that point. You know, I don't know. But either way, like, if we don't grant any of the Kyuubi stuff or any of that, like, Naruto, he just can't win. Like, he's not going to be able to land Raisen Shuriken. He's not going to be able to fucking, you know... he just won't be able to do anything. I mean, like, the best way he could potentially win the fight is if he, like, maybe, like, summons Gamabunta, you know, uses the Nine-Tails chakra and summons Gamabunta, you know, because he takes the Akatsuki that much of a threat, you know. But then it just gets to, like, Deidara versus Gamabunta, you know, and at that point, like, it could maybe go either way. You know what I mean? Like, let's say we're just talking about Deidara, okay? Let's say we're just only talking about Deidara. I appreciate the follow, by the way. Appreciate you. Let's say we're talking about Deidara, okay, and it's only them, not Obito, okay? It's just Deidara. And Naruto summons Gamabunta. I could see it being possible for Naruto to win. Like, Gamabunta's a fucking monster. He's a beast, okay? Sup, I want to get into Naruto. Alright, bro. By all means, Naruto is a goated anime. One of my favorites. At least top 3 from what I've seen so far overall. I'm not gonna say like it's the best thing in the world or like it's the best anime, blah blah. That's a little ignorant of me and a little biased as well. But I really, really enjoy it. And I take it seriously enough, and I'm very passionate enough with it to where I have a lot of knowledge, and I do all kinds of things. I do my own videos about it. I do reaction videos. I play the games. You know, you name it. I do podcast episodes about it, the whole 9 yards. So if you like Naruto, you like anime and that type of nerd stuff, by all means, come on in. Any questions you have or anything, just let me know. So, but anyways, so like if it's anything like that, maybe Naruto could be able to pull it off. You know, because mind you, Deidara still can't kill. Like, obviously he won't give a fuck about killing the fucking frog, but it's gonna be really tough for him to land a bomb on a frog that can jump like super high and move so quick to where you can blitz Shikaku, a tail beast, and you name it. You know, I like Rock Lee guy. We have the same hair, only know it because my little bro. That's funny, bro. Hey, as long as you don't got the eyebrows, man, you're good. You know. But either way, regardless, I feel like Deidara more than likely has this one in the bag. That's just me though. Like, the only way I see Naruto coming on top is with the Nine Tails or Gamabunta. But if we also take Obito into consideration and he's willing to help, Naruto's not winning. He's just not winning, no matter what. It's just not happening. Obito will capture him. Like, it's that simple. Deidara will probably die, but Obito will be living and he would capture him.
It's going to be like the Naruto at that time, so this is like post Rasen Shuriken, right before Sage Mode training.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is definitely like Naruto is not. This was like the point of the series where Sasuke was way stronger than Naruto, like all the way, like almost as bad as like back in the Land of Waves arc. And so Naruto's just not doing well here. There's no other way to put it. So like we saw, like even when Deidara was just messing around with him in the Kazekage retrieval arc, Naruto didn't really have any way to close the distance. Now it is possible, like I've said several times, like maybe he can use his Toad summon since they have hops basically, and like harass Deidara. But like, I mean, Deidara can deal with like Gaara Sand pretty well, and Deidara's being very cautious with Gaara. So I don't think the Toads are going to be enough. And then
okay, interesting.
Like,
so he thinks the Toads wouldn't be enough, which it's fine. Like, it's okay. It's not like the end of the world. Like, I'm gonna be like really honest with you. Like, I could see Genbutsu definitely coming out with a W against Deidara. Like, he's not gonna be getting hit by the explosions. I really don't believe it. Like, he's not gonna be getting hit by explosions. You know, he has ninjutsu attacks, you name it, and he moves very, very fucking fast. You know what I mean? If anything, I do think Genbutsu is going to be able to beat Deidara. You know what I mean? Like, if Genbutsu could fight against Tail Beast, to be able to fight against all these other supernatural monsters and shit, it's really weird to say that Genbutsu just straight up loses to fucking Deidara. Especially against a Deidara that can't kill Naruto. And we all know Naruto would be either on top of the Toad or working with him, you name it. So, like, you know, Deidara kind of has a handicap against a summoning that's really fucking strong. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't know about all that. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Deidara can't fuck up the frog. Like, obviously, with his suicide bomb, he was able to kill Manda. So, no, don't get me wrong. He definitely would have attack potency to be able to probably injure Genbutsu, you name it. But remember, Genbutsu was able to tank fucking a Tail Beast attack from the full transformation of one tail, Shikaku. Okay? And then he states after, he's like, man, that really hurt, has a crazy amount of chakra. I won't be able to take many more of those, implying plural that he could be able to get hit a couple more times. But if you know, even if he was to get hit by maybe Deidara's bombs or whatever, he could definitely be able to tank it, whatever. Obviously, Genbutsu wouldn't be tanking the hacks, and he wouldn't be tanking probably, you know, like the fucking, like the big suicide explosion. That's not happening. Manda couldn't even do that. But if it's anything else lower and he was to get tagged, I could see him having the durability enough. If he could do it with a Tail Beast, I don't see why he can't do it with the fucking explosion from Deidara. That's just me personally. But either way, like, it's just, I just don't see Deidara beating that. You know what I mean? Like, I could understand arguments and why someone could say Deidara could be able to beat Naruto with Genbutsu, but that's just me, though. You know what I mean? Genbutsu's that guy, bro. And a lot of fucking people really think the summonings are just trash, and I don't understand why.
Going to get into the air, like maybe he can use like a Shadow Clone ladder or something, but I don't see that working very well. And then if Toby like starts setting landmines, he's going to be screwed. So like when Sasuke first stepped on the landmine, he was able to mitigate it by instantly turning on the curse mark and flying upwards, whereas Naruto doesn't have that choice. So really, I don't really think I have to say much about this. It's just like, you know, Naruto, if Sasuke was being pushed to his absolute limit here, and he had a very favorable matchup, there's no way this version of Naruto can win.
Yeah. Just a quick note to add on to that too, like Deidara is like blowing off like Sasuke's like curse mark wings, which are like blocking like curse mark 2 Jugo's punches, and like Jugo's crazy in of himself, so it's like Deidara is performing these kind of feats, like Naruto might just like the explosions are gonna be too. Oh yeah, I agree. And then, oh god, we're here. We're at 5 August. We made it.
We have made it.
Kind of like, I guess the Pain invasion, and I guess right before that was Naruto versus B. But anyway, as for Sasuke's fight for this round, we're going to be putting him against Pain when Naruto shows up. So there's a lot of circumstances to that fight that people kind of overlook. So like Sasuke is going to have a lot of intel, and then Pain is also going to be fatigued after blowing up the Leaf Village. Like,
yep.
The Diva Path was totally
yeah. So this is like this fight, when like this would be like when Sasuke has Susanoo and the Migekyo, you know what I mean? This is actually really, really beneficial for Sasuke, in my opinion. As crazy as that sounds, I'm always in Pain's corner. I'm always in the motherfucker's corner. And it's not because I'm a Pain chart or whatever. He's just that guy. He's fucking strong. But Pain at this point, for one, Sasuke's going to have intel. Two, prep time. Three, fucking has Susanoo, you name it. Really, really strong at this point. And Pain is also very fatigued and tired. So it's, you know, Pain's going to be at a very big disadvantage. But I'm curious how they're going to kind of approach the fight, and you name it, and see what they think and how it goes. And then I'll kind of give my thoughts afterwards.
That's for several chapters.
Not allowed for but if it's like full power Pain fighting against five Kage Summit Sasuke, Sasuke gets washed. Absolutely destroyed.
Naruto just to like methodically pick the lesser paths off one by one. But anyway, in this situation, the way I look at, like, you know, in Kage Summit Sasuke and Saitama Naruto, those are like, that's like the age-old rivalry, age-old question. I've always looked at them as like rivals, but Sasuke is way, his arsenal is way better for like sprints. And in this situation, I see it as a sprint to defeat all the lesser paths before the Demon Path comes back. And so, like, when we saw, like, in the Sasuke versus Danzo fight, obviously, like, his stamina doesn't really compare to, like, his attack power, but he was killing Danzo, like, over and over and over in succession, and then, like, tiring himself out, and then killing him over and over and over. It's like, once he starts going off, it's scary, because these lesser paths of Pain don't equal Danzo. Like, Danzo's definitely stronger than, like one of the lesser paths of Pain. And so basically, like, if the summon, like, the animal summons aren't going to do anything to the Susanoo, right? Amaterasu is a problem for everyone except for, like, the Preta path. And it's just, like, if Sasuke's shooting Susanoo arrows and, like, Kakashi has to Kamui to deal with them, Danzo can't hardly deal with them at all, like, almost not at all. And, like, Danzo died, I don't know, like, at least 6 or 7 times just to the Susanoo itself. And so, in this situation, like, the lesser paths are not going to be able to break the Susanoo defense. Like, they just don't have the power to do that. And so, since Sasuke is perfectly protected here, he doesn't have to be super methodical like Naruto had to be. He can just, like, literally just shoot Susanoo arrows and swing his Susanoo around, tire himself out. And I think that he can do this fast enough, way faster than Naruto, because by the time the Demon Path came back, there was only 2 paths left. And in this situation, I think Sasuke is just going to have his way with the lesser paths, and then defeat the Demon Path, who will be powerless, and then just be totally, like, he'll be ready to collapse after that. It'll be like a high difficulty fight, but I definitely think he has this.
And then, you know.
Okay. So I'm going to give my thoughts on that. So with that particular fight, it can go either way. And, like, it's interesting because, like, obviously Pain is fatigued, tired, you name it, whatever. He does a certain formation to compensate for that reason, okay? And, like, you know, obviously, like, if Sasuke is just straight up charging, like, let's say he goes to feel him out, do, like, ninjutsu or taijutsu, whatever, and you name it, he's not landing anything. He's not going to be getting it. If Saitama Naruto couldn't really do it, and he had to resort to using, like, you know, the fucking force, in a way, to, like, while he punched at that path of Pain, he was still able to dodge, but he got hit by, like, the force of it. Sasuke obviously doesn't have that. So any of his taijutsu, ninjutsu, anything like that, it's just not going to work. Yes, Sasuke has Mingekyo Genjutsu, but it's the Rinnegan, and it's very contentious whether if it would work or not, so that's more than likely not a factor you can really put into consideration. If it could work, then obviously that's a big fucking issue and problem. But then again, Nagato, you know what I mean, he could always release it, because he's the one controlling them, so even if Sasuke was to, like, do Genjutsu to, like, one of the passive Pains, like, for one, you have a question. Does that affect Nagato, or does that affect one of the passive Pains? So does it affect all of them? That's the question, right? Now, I'm going to be real with you. You know, I think it would affect... It would either affect Nagato still, or it would affect only one of them. I don't know. However you want to think it, it's fine. It is what it is. That's not really something Kishimoto ever explored, unfortunately, with the passive Pains, and we just don't know. So it's very, very, very vague. Let's put it that way. But Genjutsu, I'm just going to leave that out of the equation because we just don't know. It's a don't know type of a scenario, and I don't like arguing the schematics of things that we just don't know. Okay. So what I will say, Sasuke's best winning factor is definitely the Susanoo. I would definitely give him credit for that and admit that. That's obviously going to be like his Hail Mary. Now, it's interesting because it's like, we know the Susanoo is really fucking fast. We know it's really, really fast. Okay, Sasuke was killing Danzo over and over, but there was moments where Danzo was able to like kind of react to the Susanoo and kind of deal with it at certain points. Well, I had to go back to the fight where he could kind of, do certain things and combat against it in a way, if that made sense. But either way, whenever it came to the arrows, though, Danzo couldn't do shit. Like, he had to use Izanagi or use Jutsu activation, similar to what Kimaru did against Lee with the first game. And he used, like, the Hashirama cells in the tree and made it, like, change the direction of the arrow because he didn't have Izanagi active at that time. So, like, so the arrows are fucking stupid fast. Like, they're crazy, crazy fast. Enough to the point where it forced Kakashi had to use Kamui, where he couldn't even dodge it with his normal movement speed and combat speed, and you name it. It's definitely going to be a problem. Now, the only way you could really argue for the paths of Pains to be able to somehow, some way deal with the Susanoo arrows or the Susanoo attacks is their linked vision. Because remember, their linked vision basically gives him vision like 6 times worth of vision. Like, there's statements for it verbatim, you name it, the whole 9 yards. So unless you think that the linked vision can be able to compensate for the speed, where like it can be able to anticipate, predict it, and they can act accordingly, kind of similar to how Sasuke with 3 Tomo when he's fighting against Naruto, or Neji with the Byakugan as well, where they're able to see it coming before it happens. And so like they're not faster than that person, but they have enough reaction speed and and able to anticipate it with their visual prowess to where they could be able to react accordingly and counter effectively. So if you grant that to Pain and give them the linked vision, then you could say you could still dodge the Susanoo attacks and deal with it, whatever. Or because we all know the passive Pains have crazy hacks abilities. If you think, the Pain that can absorb chakra, so like if he can just come and absorb the arrows, that can also happen. Or if the Susanoo goes to throw a punch, Susanoo is made out of chakra, it should be able to absorb the Susanoo as well. So like there's ways I could see the passive Pains being able to deal with the Sasuke and kind of go around it, you name it. And if the fight extends long enough, like let's say you even give Sasuke credit and he's able to take out a good amount of the passive Pains like Naruto did, and it boils down to like the last 2 passive Pains. If Tendo Pain gets his power back, Sasuke's losing. It's just that simple. But if Tendo doesn't have his power back, and let's say it's just those last 2, Sasuke's more than likely winning that fight. As crazy as that sounds, it just it is what it is. It's not fair. Like you give someone Susanoo and then the other person doesn't have shit. Like what do? This is not fair. So Pain's more than likely losing, and it's as simple as that. But if you think like because of the linked vision, and all the other abilities, and remember the summonings, they're more than likely won't be able to do anything. But Pain's not an idiot. He's not just going to sacrifice his summonings. He might use one, test out the Susanoo's speed and power and everything. And then once he realizes like the Susanoo's just that strong, he's obviously not going to use it as like a distraction. He'll just summon a bunch of shit to increase his linked vision and his awareness to compensate for blind spots and attacks. And at the end of the day, no matter what, however you guys feel about it, unfortunately the linked vision has like 100% like W rate. It's literally stated verbatim. The only way to beat the linked vision is to have 1v1 scenarios. Or to sever the linked vision, somehow, some way. So if you're not doing that, it just won't work. It's shown with the fucking, when Obito's using it. It's shown with Pain. So like, if anything, if we're just going by like actual evidence, and not by possibility or whatever, then technically it's a lot more plausible, or a lot more possible for the linked vision to be a W and greater. So if anything, at that point, Sasuke shouldn't be able to really land any attacks. Maybe he'll get 1 or 2 Pains along the way if you want to be generous for him. But he's just not going to be able to really land attacks. Pain will be on the defense. And then once he's able to last long enough, he has a ridiculous amount of stamina chakra, way more than Sasuke. So come on, let's be real. And then Tendo's power will come back and then he wins and that's it. So like I would say Pain or Sasuke could win either or. But it is interesting. It is contentious. It is interesting. It's either you think the Susanoo moves so fast that Pain just can't do anything and he gets bodied, whatever, or fucking passive Pains with the Link Vision, you name it, and their jutsus and abilities, they would be able to be on defense, survive, you name it, and be fine, which I feel like is really possible. We're talking about Nagato, who has a ridiculous amount of chakra and stamina, okay, can use both Renegons, which only Madara was able to do, like a fucking Madara feat, okay, of chakra and stamina, which is insane, okay, like, yes, he is fatigued and tired, but he wasn't fatigued and tired enough to just get destroyed by Naruto. It took for Naruto to strategize, and because he had prep time and intel of why he was even able to be successful against him. So, regardless, like, you know, it's really interesting. It's really, really interesting. I think Pain, you know, is going to win that, you know what I mean, with mid-diff. I won't say low-diff. Mid-diff or high-diff, okay, whatever, but still win 9 out of 10 times. Sasuke could be able to win maybe 6 out of 10 times. That's just me. I don't know, that's just me. But either way, you guys take it however you want. It is what it is. It's not really that big of a deal. It's really hard to kind of concur of how really that would go if we're being honest with that encounter. You know, but obviously if I did more homework, looked way more into it, you name it, I could able to come to a better conclusion and more, you know, precise thoughts and whatnot. But that's just kind of where I'm at, you know.
I agree. The inverse of that is Naruto. You know, for the sake of this discussion, I'll give Naruto, you know, I'll give him the scroll with the Sage Mode clones. You know, I'll give him that. He can have that. Against Killer B, you know, when B just gets done lifting weights, comes back from his workout, he comes out, he's like, oh man, I'm gonna get some sake, yo. And he comes out, and then Naruto's gonna fight that B. Now, but essentially, you know, this is a pretty interesting fight, especially since, like, I think it somewhat depends on, like, how much B takes Naruto seriously, because B was so much stronger than, like, the entirety of Taka that he kind of, like, didn't take them seriously and, like, proceeded to, like, toy with them a little bit by fighting in base. Now, if B does, like, try to tag Naruto in base, now, I don't think he's tagging him, especially if, like, I don't think it's possible that he's gonna, like, breach Naruto's Sage Mode with, like, his regular blades, especially if he starts it like Sasuke.
No,
because he doesn't even enhance his blades with Raiton. He just, like, swings them around. So Naruto might just actually start breaking his blades, in which case, like, B might enhance them with, like, a lightning style. In which case, you know, obviously, I don't know. I think it's a bit more questionable if they're gonna hit Naruto, especially if Kisame is also able to avoid them. In which case, like, B would more than likely power up against this version of Naruto. I will say, too, Naruto at this point does have a lot that could take down B. His Rasengan variants, even, like, a lot of his physical blows. He's a lot of strong, like, AP at this point. You know, Rasen Shuriken's obviously a GG. Version 1B also might not perform that well against Naruto just due to his movements being linear. Especially if, like, an inferior Sasuke is also, like, able to tap B's head and, like, flip himself around. So you can maybe make some, like, infer some things about this, but essentially what this fight boils down to is, like, if you think B, like, loses before he goes into the full 8 tails, I'll say this, and I've talked about this, like, on my channel before. B, like, transforms depending on, like, what he perceives the threat to be, and his transformation speeds are instant. So if he does, like, see the Rasen Shuriken, I believe he's gonna be able to dodge it, because B is pretty, like, even his lower stages, he's on par with, like, the Raikage, and even in the War Arc, he's a rival to him in base. He's gonna be able to dodge it, and if he does deem, like, Naruto is that swole, he's just gonna power up into his full 8 tails and just proceed to wipe Naruto. I think it's extremely questionable if, like, Naruto would even be able to damage the 8 tails with the Rasen Shuriken at this point. I think it's a little bit more debatable. Kind of gets into if you think the Rasen Shuriken's as strong as the 8 tails Beast Bomb. Not gonna get into that for that video. But that's kind of what it gets down to. Especially since, like, in the Kisame fight, B's first.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real. I love me some Sage Mode Naruto, but, like, I think B is definitely winning that scenario. You know what I mean? Like, Sage Mode Naruto is strong. I mean, like, if it's interesting, it's a really interesting fight. Killer B versus you know, Sage Mode Naruto. Like, if Naruto has, like, it summons, like, the frog, the Gambunta, or especially, like, all three, Killer B is going to have to go to fucking, you know what I mean, to, like, full transformation. You know what I mean? Naruto's going to have that Sage Mode, you know, perception and sensory ability, so he'll be able to dodge attacks and deal with whatever. But the moment, you know, Naruto is doing, like, fucking, like, Raiden Shuriken and whatnot, you know, like, that's going to be really interesting. Especially, and it's just, it kind of gets to the point, like, where B's going to be in full transformation, and I don't think a Sage Mode Raiden Shuriken is going to fucking hurt full transformation 8 tails. Like, I really don't see that happening. It's strong, but like Naruto would have to do like a massive maybe Sage Rising Shuriken to do the job. But that's not really shown around that point in time, especially like when he first acquired Sage Mode. But like if we're talking about like a Sage Mode Naruto overall, like like overall, like if Naruto's doing like fucking thousands of Sage Mode clones with like massive Rising Gons and throwing some Rising Shurikens in the process, he could probably be able to give 8 Tails a run for his money because he did it against the 9 Tails, who is stronger than the 8 Tails, just half the power alone. So if he could perform that well against the 9 Tails, I don't see why he can't do the same against 8 Tails. But then again, he wasn't able to beat the 9 Tails. He was just able to just, kind of push it around and damage it slightly. So, I don't know. Like, I don't really think Naruto would be able to beat B with just Sageman alone. I just don't see it. You know what I mean? Sageman Naruto's strong, but the 8 Tails? I don't know about all that. That's just, that's just crazy. So, but that's just me. Maybe I'm capping whenever you guys let me know, but that's just me.
8 Tails, not even version 2. So I think in this scenario, if he's not playing with the group, or like he deems Naruto's like threat level is that high, he's just gonna go into full 8 Tails and wipe him. So even with the additional clones, it doesn't really change too much because B just powers up. Like his power-ups are so ridiculous that Sage Mode does offer a lot of hacks, and I think Naruto could damage B. I think there's just a speed disparity here at this point. So that's what I'll say on that. So next up, we also have Naruto in Sage Mode, just Sage Mode, no additional clones this time or scroll, versus Danzo. Same Danzo that Sasuke fought when he removes like the gauntlet, the icy drip on his arm. In which case, me and New Horizons were like talking about this, but like I'm a little iffy on it. He feels a little more strongly towards Naruto, so we're gonna kind of like both talk on this point, and just kind of come to some type of consensus for the people. But I guess I'll start off. So the reason I'm a little less, I'm a little iffy on the Sage Mode Naruto point is just because like due to the nature of Sage Mode, like it's harder for me to digest that Naruto would be able to like continuously kill Danzo over a 10-minute period. Without his Sage Mode running out, I just don't think the timer is that long, especially if he uses Rasen Shuriken. And it's not as if, like, Danzo's base stats are weak, as he's, like, very comparable to Sasuke's base stats, the 5 Kage Summit. He's able to weave the Susanoo, so I think there is a case that he could potentially pressure Naruto to use the Rasen Shuriken, even with, like, him having his own summons that could, like, suck in and change the area and stuff like that. He's got some really solid Suiton. So I think there is a great possibility Naruto might waste his Rasen Shurikens. Now, while I say that, there's also a possibility he could make a clone that Danzo can't see, since Shisui's eye is recharging. He won't be able to notice the clone. So I think it's up in the air. I just think Danzo has a lot going for him. What do you think? Talk to the people, bro. Educate me.
So I'm a little bit more favorable towards Naruto because I think that, like, definitely if he's just running in with no clones, running out of Sage Mode is going to be very dangerous for him. Like when he ran out of Sage Mode against Pain, like he was able to briefly hold his own and Taijutsu against like the Demon Path, but whenever he's very vulnerable when he's not in Sage Mode when he's fighting like this caliber of fighter. I do think that it's possible, and I guess it's like totally theoretical. Like he could just summon some clones and tell them to like just go run away so that he can just unsummon them and replenish his Sage Mode when he needs to. Like there's not much, like if he makes like, I don't know.
Before I let him finish, so Sage Mode Naruto versus Danzo is really interesting. Danzo, the problem with Danzo is he's such a weird character. He has so much hacks. That's the fucking problem. For one, he can use Genjutsu with Sharingan. Okay, let's get that straight. 2, he can use Izanagi over and over and over and over. Crazy stamina and chakra reserves due to the Hashirama cells. Okay. Can use Kodo Matsukami as well. If he really deems Naruto that much of a threat, he could just use Kodo Matsukami and that's it, GG. Okay? Like, Danzo has a lot of win cons. He does, okay? If he uses Kodo, it's a GG. No matter what Naruto does, he's not winning that. If he does, Genjutsu, and like if Naruto has Ma and Pa on his shoulders, then Genjutsu's not going to work. It's just not happening. But if he doesn't have Ma and Pa on his shoulders and Danzo does Genjutsu to kind of like create an opening, maybe that could be able to help Danzo do something or whatever. But like I feel like Naruto would be able to more likely break it just in time and then react accordingly while he's in Sage Mode. I just don't see why not. But, you know, there's that. But either way, like, with him having Izanagi, like, don't get me wrong, Sage Naruto's going to be bullying his shit. Like, he's going to be beating his ass. And if he also lands, like, a Rising Shuriken, you know what I mean? Like, Danzo's, yeah, he's dead. But, like, Danzo has so many freebies, and it's just going to come to a fight of stamina, you know, and whatnot, and outlasting. And don't get me wrong, Naruto definitely has that in the bag. Definitely has that. So, you know, Naruto's good there and everything, but it's just, like, it's really interesting. Like, you know, in my opinion, they have an equal rate of wins. It's as crazy as that sounds. They really do, though. And the reason why is because, like, if Naruto does, like, a shit ton of fucking, like, Sage Mode Shadow Clones, like he did against, you know, the Nine Tails, and does, like, massive Rising Guns or all this other shit or whatever, you know, if he has other clones on standby and he just basically has infinite Sage Mode, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I would say Danzo more than likely loses. Like, he's just going to keep getting bodied over and over and over, and Naruto wins. You know what I mean? And then that's it. Once he runs out, and then he might just be forced to use Kodo Matsukami, and then Naruto loses. So, like, if it's like an in-character fight, Naruto probably just bullies his shit, you know, and then Danzo has to, like, use Kodo to beat him, and that's it. Or fucking or somehow, some way, like, Danzo just beats him without Kodo, and that's it, whatever, and it just happens. But, like, I don't know, like, I feel like it's more favorable for Naruto. That's just me personally, you know what I mean? If the conditions are there. If he only has, like, one Sage Mode activation use, like, he just activates it, you know what I mean? And then he runs out, then, yeah, he's fucked. Like, he's fucked. Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, even in the War Arc, he had to, like, sit down for a couple minutes to gather it. And he's not going to have that luxury against Danzo. Like, he'll have to probably summon, like, a shit ton of Shadow Clones, and then, you know, maybe, like, have one of them, like, on standby hiding somewhere doing it, or him hiding in the shadows to gather it, whatever. But, so, like, I could see ways for Naruto to maybe reactivate Sage Mode once or twice after using the first time, but, like, I don't know, it's really hard and interesting, dude. You know what I mean? It's really interesting. But if Naruto at least has some preparation like he did with Pain, to where he has, you know, clones already on standby, or if he's doing the same feats he did, like, you know what I mean, against the Nine Tails, you know what I mean, and whatnot, I could definitely see this Naruto winning. I could definitely see him pulling it off. So if it's like Bloodlust and whatnot, Naruto more than likely wins. If it's in character, Danzo would probably have to resort to using Kodo Matsukami, and then he wins. That's all I'll say on that.
Like 100 clones, is Danzo really going to kill all 100 of them? I don't think so, but that's getting a little hypothetical. But this is definitely kind of like the same case. And I was comparing like Sasuke and Naruto with the Pain fight. Like, Naruto is much more of a marathon runner at this stage.
Oh, yeah.
And Danzo is a marathon runner, right? Like,
yeah, for sure.
Basically has 10 lives. So I think that because Naruto and Sasuke are so much of rivals at this point, but Naruto has the far greater edge on endurance. I just think in that general way, I can see Naruto having a strong pace of winning here, especially if he can set up some Sage Mode Shadow Clones to, like, run away.
Yeah, and I like that you brought up, like, he can make a bunch of clones, because not a lot of people realize that, because he only does it versus the Nine Tails, but if he did it against anybody else, it would be ridiculous. Like,
oh, yeah.
That's why I didn't do it against the Pain fight, because he had clones already waiting. So, you know, there's always that restriction. Maybe you could say, like, if he does go to collect more nature energy, he can't do that sort of feat. He can only summon 3 or 4 clones. So, I do agree. I think the edge goes to Naruto. I think it's just a little, like, I think it's a little more debatable, but I think, you know, there is a decent case for on both sides. But I'm
definitely
going to agree with New Horizons here.
It's interesting. It's an interesting fight.
And then we get to the War Arc, and so we're going to be talking about the first fight is going to be putting Sasuke in Naruto's position against Obito when basically
Obito's beating him. I'm sorry. EMS Sasuke is not beating White Mask Obito. Like, that's just not fucking happening. It's not happening. It's not happening, bro. Like, he has the Rinnegan abilities. He has all the paths. Fucking, I mean, you name it. Like, Kamui. Like, bro, come on. What we doing, bro? Don't get me wrong. There's technically different versions of Sasuke with EMS as well. Like, you have the beginning that fights Kabuto. Then you have the one that's on par with, like, KCM1 Naruto. Then you have the one that eventually is fighting along KCM2 Naruto against Jubito. So, like, maybe the EMS Sasuke that eventually has access to Perfect Susanoo, which You guys are probably like, wait, what? He can use Perfect Susanoo? Yes, he can use Perfect Susanoo. It's basically implied when he fights against Jubito when he does the Perfect Majestic Susanoo. You can't do the Majestic Susanoo if you don't have Perfect Susanoo. So yes, he can do Perfect Susanoo. At that point, eventually later on, he doesn't have it when he's fighting against Kabuto, obviously, or in the beginning when he's KCM with Naruto. But once Naruto's like in KCM 2 with Seijuman and all that and everything, he does have access to Perfect Susanoo. We know for a fact he can do like the one that can stand, you know what I mean, the humanoid version as well. So his Susanoo does progress even further. He does have Perfect Susanoo. So like if you grant Sasuke the Perfect Susanoo and shit, you know what I mean, that's obviously going to be a big help. But even Sasuke with EMS or Perfect Susanoo, fighting against all like Tail Beast, full transformations, and you name it and all that, like it's going to be tough. Like obviously if Sasuke does a Mataratsu, you know what I mean, and whatnot on the full tail beast, then that's going to be very problematic, and he'll be able to get rid of all of them instantaneously. But Obito's not an idiot. He's not going to make the tail beast go in full transformation, which would kind of restrain their movement and slow them down in a sense. If anything, he'll keep them in base so they have the linked vision and can use, you know, the abilities, you know, of like the passive pains, and on top of it, like their Jinchuriki abilities to kind of pressure Sasuke, you name it. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think, you know, any of their abilities is going to penetrate through the Susanoo. Like, the Susanoo's really fucking strong. But, you know, it's interesting. Like, maybe Ball Release might be able to do something. Maybe the Lava Style, because, you know, the Mizukage was able to kind of do shit to his Susanoo and whatnot. But that was, you know, for one, a weaker Sasuke, and two, he was getting fatigued and tired. And three, like, it was like the rib cage and shit, you know. So, like, we're talking about EMS Sasuke was like as strong as he's getting, you know, all that. So, like, it's a really interesting fight. But either way, it's mainly going to boil down, like, regardless if you think Sasuke can be able to deal with the paths, you know what I mean, of the Jinchuriki, you know what I mean, whether if you think they're able to dodge all his attacks or if they can't dodge and they all just kind of get dealt with. Sasuke doesn't have any ceiling abilities either. So that's kind of a fucking problem. You know what I mean? Like, what does he do on that? You know what I mean? So, like, it's just he has really no way to deal with the Edos, in my opinion. Okay, even if he can, like, incapacitate them temporarily while they're regenerating, then now he has to slowly deal with Obito. And I don't see that Sasuke beating White Mask Obito. I just don't see it. Like, you're talking about a guy that's being implied to be on the level of, like, Madara with the Rinnegan as an Edo and the whole 9 yards, and basically fighting, like, everybody, you know what I mean? Like his combo is just insane. Like, I don't know. I just don't see it. I don't see it. Like, maybe could Sasuke pull it off, like, if he's timing the Amaterasu, you know, while Obito's doing, like, his, you know, his combo and shit. But then again, even if he was to land on Amaterasu, he has fucking the Rinnegan, so he can, like, push it off. He can absorb it, you know. Like, I don't know. Like, he could do Chubaku Tensei on Sasuke. Like, I feel like it's just a lot more favorable and winnable for Obito. I feel like it's very implied, especially towards White Mask Obito, that EMS Sasuke would not be able to beat him. He just would not be able to.
And confronted Obito with the Edo Jinchuriki, we're just going to be putting Sasuke in that position. And basically, we're going to be saying that the win condition is basically just get rid of the Jinchuriki and force Obito to start summoning the Ten Tails. But anyway, I think that Sasuke is, in some ways, and this, by the way, this is the EMS Sasuke that fought against Kabuto. So
but even if it's this Sasuke that fought Kabuto, yeah, he's getting destroyed. He's not winning. I'm sorry, it's just not happening. But if it's the one where he's eventually, like, contending against, like, Jubito and shit and all that, I mean, like, maybe he can pull off a W and do it, you know, whatever. But, like, it's just going to be really hard. Like I said, you're talking about Obito, bro. Obito's no joke. You know, he's no joke.
Has a perfect Susanoo fighting Jubito or anything. I definitely do think that KCM 1 Naruto is generally stronger than this Sasuke. Just because Sasuke his EMS is so underdeveloped here. But Sasuke's matchup is far better in this situation. Like, when we see the Edo Jinchuriki first start out, they're basically just showing all their hacks. And because Naruto and B aren't that analytical, they don't really know what they're doing. Like, they're overwhelmed, like, the entire time, and then the ATL decides to just level the entire forest so they can get rid of that clearing, or so they can have better line of sight. But anyway, in this position, Sasuke is way more analytical. He can think much faster and make counter offenses much faster. And the biggest advantage he has here is his defense. and in the Susanoo. So once the hacks start coming out, like lava release, like bubbles, whatever it may be, like he can throw up the Susanoo and just think and just be safe, right? And then the Susanoo itself is its own monster that the Jinchuriki are going to have to deal with. Of course, they do have the benefit of being Edo, so they can replenish from getting hit by like a Susanoo arrow. But anyway, I do see like Sasuke can definitely, he'll be fine up to the point that I do think that the HLs will still say we need to eliminate the forest so they don't have like the environmental advantage. But anyway, after that,
I keep forgetting that we're basically when we're swapping the fights, that it's basically all the other shit applies as well. So I keep forgetting that B would be there, Kakashi, Guy,
some of the tail beasts they start transforming into version 2 and then into full tail beasts like one by one. But this is the case where kind of like when we were talking about Naruto versus Killer B on Sasuke's position, Sasuke was lucky that B became the A-Tails because that basically just became a giant Amaterasu target. Like he kind of got bailed out in that way, in the same way that if these Jinchuriki start turning into full-tailed beasts, Sasuke is just going to instantly Amaterasu them because he knows that Obito needs all 9-tailed beasts to summon the 10 tails. And I think Obito would know this as well, so I think he's hesitant to just...
Yeah, he would not make him go to full transformation. It would make him easy targets, and he needs them for the 10 tails.
Fully transform them, because the tailed beasts aren't Edo Tensei, they're actually alive. So if one of those tailed beasts die before they get put into the 10 tails, the whole plan, the whole Infinite Tsukuyomi is broken. And I definitely think that this Sasuke can easily Amaterasu at least one tailed beast. A much weaker one can Amaterasu the 8-tails. And Obito can't really do anything about helping them. But anyway, because of that, they're just going to stay in version 2 like the entire time. And then Kakashi and Guy are going to show up. And like Kakashi and Guy were holding their own briefly against like several version 2. And then you have version 2 Jinchuriki here. Then you have like the whole 8-tails helping you. You have Sasuke Susanoo. You have Amaterasu. There's just too much for just version 2. Like they need full tail beast here. But the Amaterasu just being hacks itself is preventing that. So basically, I think that Obito is going to realize he's going to have to cut his losses and put all the tailed beasts into the Gado Mazu and just like originally start summoning the 10 tails. And so we declare that like a W.
And the other matchup isn't like KCM or Naruto and Itachi go to fight Kabuto. I'm gonna be honest, like I think Naruto in this situation takes Sasuke's role pretty easily just because we're gonna have the KCM or Naruto that fought Obito, to be clear for all you people watching, and Itachi fight Kabuto, Sage Mode. In which case, it's weird to say, but this slot almost like doesn't really matter just because and I'm not gonna say it doesn't matter but like the thing is like Sasuke was just more so getting babied in that fight by Itachi.
Yeah.
Itachi was protecting him or whatnot. Like I could easily see the fight starting out the same. Itachi protecting Naruto as Kabuto goes for him to capture him, or maybe he goes to like plant the tag and it would just the outcome would be the same as it was in the original fight. You go for Sasuke.
Now, what I will say before they finish whatever they're gonna say with this, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. If Kabuto does that Genjutsu where he has them paralyzed, I will definitely say that Itachi's not getting out with the Genjutsu. That's gonna be the only problem. Naruto, okay, it's debatable whether the Nine Tails would help him. This is the problem. If the Nine Tails is willing to get him out of the Genjutsu, then he's fine. Because remember, it took Sasuke and Itachi to look into each other's eyes and to release the Genjutsu. Obviously, Itachi's not going to have that luxury with Naruto. He doesn't have a fucking shotgun gun. So, in Naruto, like, you know what I mean? Like, he can't fucking, like, touch him or anything or whatnot, like, he can't, like, he's paralyzed. You know what I mean? He's paralyzed in a Genjutsu. They can only be able to look at each other, whatever. So, Itachi would probably be able to break Naruto out of it with his eyes. But what's it called? So Naruto would be able to get out, and then he could then just go to Itachi's aid and touch him or whatever. But you know what I mean? So I don't know. It's either like if that happens and they're kind of fucked, and maybe Kabuto could actually potentially get a W. I'm just putting that out there. I don't know. Or Itachi just gets Naruto out, and then Naruto gets him out of the Genjutsu, and they're fine. It's the same result. I mean, however you want to think it.
In which case, you know, the fight would continue. And the only thing you really have to argue for Naruto at this point is he going to be able to defend against Itachi's like Sage Mode like techniques? That being, you know, the cave constructs, inorganic animation, the sound 4.
He'll be able to because of his sensory abilities. I do think with his sensory abilities and everything, like he'll be able to sense and react to it accordingly. I don't see why not. So
maybe you could argue to Yuya's Genjutsu. That could potentially be a win condition, which would affect the matchup. The sound for Tsuyu Genjutsu might be an issue for Itachi just because he did need Sasuke to like break him out of it. Maybe you could argue he would have broken through it just like via like the standard of the Sharingan, and Sasuke being there was actually quicker, which I think is fine.
True, yeah. That's also fair as well. You could also argue that Itachi could still be able to break himself out of it, and that's completely 100% realistic and fair. I mean, it's just a fucking sound genjutsu. You know what I mean? Like, we're talking about the Mingekyo over here and Itachi out of all fucking characters. Like, it's really weird to think he can't get out of it, you know what I mean? So, like, you know, that is true. That is true. So, and then not only that, another way to get out of genjutsu is just inflicting pain, you know? So, like, but then again, can an Edo body even feel pain? You know, so I don't know about that, but, you know, that's fair.
In which case, you know, Naruto really just fills the same role. All he has to really do is like defend against Kabuto's attacks with his Rasen Shuriken variants, and stall out for Itachi to complete the Izanami. Not too much actually changes. You know, maybe you could argue like Naruto like loses or like he gets caught, but at this point Naruto's actually really mobile with like his KCM chakra. He can, you know, he's able to sense like, the hatred. So even if he maybe gets blinded or can't see where Kabuto is, because Kabuto like liquidates and like flies through the cave, he actually should have a great deal of like threat perception due to that. So
and he
not
can
too
sense
much changes,
and
just
move.
because like Itachi was carrying this fight regardless in the opening. Maybe you could say some strategies change, but Itachi would just allocate the strategy to Phil like Naruto. Like Naruto would just literally do whatever Itachi told him. So this spot should be a W just due to the fact that Itachi was holding back and he was.
There's another point where it could be problematic for Itachi too. Though, like I said, I would have to go back to the fight and analyze it a bit further. But from my memory, I believe there's a point where Kabuto does land an attack on Itachi when he does like the organic move, and the spikes go through him, and then Sasuke did like a Mataratsu to kind of make it go away. Now, obviously, Itachi has a Mataratsu as well, so maybe Itachi would just do it instead of Sasuke or whatever. But let's say Itachi, like, he couldn't do it while he's being, you know, fucked up. Naruto would have to come save the day, and he would either have to, like, do his Rasen Shuriken to break through all of it or whatever, or maybe just go through all of it brute force. But that could also be a problem and could potentially, not saying it would, but potentially be a W for Kabuto as well. Because if Kabuto is able to get rid of Itachi and rewrite him, that's a GG. That's it.
Able to do this against Kabuto with Sasuke, who didn't really do too much in the fight aside from just following Itachi's orders. So, yeah. And so we went through all these matchups. You know, we talked about all of this, you know. And keep in mind, you know, we did have to keep this something brief. So there's certain parts we missed in certain matchups. Sorry about it. But we have the score. We're going to keep up tally. So for Naruto, it's 3 W's and 4 losses. It's 3-4. And for Sasuke, it's 5 W's and 2 losses, which we didn't figure that out until we had to keep people in mind, give you perspective. That score did not come about until we like came up with the answers and like discussed it amongst ourselves. Then we're like, oh yeah, let's count score. We still have to do that. So Naruto's like a little more even, whereas Sasuke just does wash a lot of fights, and I don't think that's a result of like Sasuke being out. It's more so a result of Sasuke just being superior to Naruto for a good portion of the series. You know what I'm saying? And him, you know, just being better at a lot of matchups. Whereas where Sasuke loses, like he just really loses. Naruto like is just not suited to a lot of people. Sasuke fights. Sasuke fights a lot of hacks people. Like Deidara is a good example. Like Deidara has like way too much for Naruto. Wrong opponent. So, do you have any closing thoughts? Anything like that?
Nah, it's just like you said, you gotta keep in mind, like, for half of part 1, Sasuke was like a whole tier above Naruto, and then like the first half of part 2, it was the same character. So like half the series, Sasuke is just stronger, so it can be expected that Sasuke would have a better win record here, and it's only by 2 wins. I was honestly expecting it to almost be worse if we had done more fights. Yeah, and you know, obviously, like we maybe could have chosen some better fights. So there's different fights. We just try to like line it up at similar points in the series. If you don't like that, shut up. Go like the video. I'm playing, but that's the video.
Now I will be honest. They didn't do like every fight. You know what I mean? Like because they did that. Obviously, the ratios would be a lot more different. Let's say that. But they did like the main one, so it's fine. It's not a big deal, It's not an issue. But we'll kind of leave that there, or whatever. So, but yeah, we'll kind of leave it at that, Really, really good video. Go-ahead video. Definitely liking the video. Really, really good one. I'll be honest with you guys. The topic was very, very unique. Blew my mind when I first saw the video. It was a WW video title. Like, mind you, I've seen so many Naruto title videos, you name it. I've never seen something like that. That was a perfect fucking concept to make as a playlist or whatever you name it, and just genius. Mwah. Like, perfect content bait to get, all the Naruto community or fans involved. So, shout out to that idea. But other than that, it was a really solid video. Very solid. Like, maybe some disagreements here and there, but very, very little, Not really that serious either. But, like, the majority of it, about 98% of it I agree with. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Like, just very good a video. Really, really good way of analyzing, kind of going about the content and whatnot. Nothing that was weird that they were saying, or nothing ratty or anything, out there. They weren't pulling any of that bullshit that a lot of other YouTubers like to do. But I'm not going to say names, but, overall, that's one of the reasons why I love, especially Thunder God. I haven't seen a lot of New Horizons videos. I've seen, I think, 1 or 2 of his, and they're really good too. But at least for Thunder God, like, he's very humble, very, he applies a lot of equity when it comes to Naruto. You know what I mean? He doesn't play favorites. He's not biased. He's not, ratting or doing crazy winks or all this other crap or whatever. He's very, very humble, very straightforward, not disingenuous, and he keeps it 100%. I mean, I love that type of vibe. That's how you should be, when it comes to Naruto. You know what I mean? You shouldn't just be out here bullshitting or just, picking favorites or choosing when, you want to. It's just not how that goes. You know what I mean? Like, if you're doing, like, in debating terms and all that, that's fine. It's a whole other thing. But, like, if you're actually talking about Naruto and you're passionate about it, especially making content about it, make it fucking, apply some goddamn integrity. Apply some, some fucking, just be honest with yourself. You know what I mean? Just don't be misleading, or don't be giving false information, or just painting nothing but illusions. You know what I mean? That's not what we're here for. You know what I mean? That's just, if anything, that's just being disrespectful to Kishimoto. That's just, that's the bottom line. So, but if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a comment. Comment your thoughts down below. Like the video. Subscribe for more content. Subscribe guys to the channel. As always, there will be plenty more vids. See you in the next one. Peace.